Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with a topic session. My good friend, Miss Brianna Hodges, a great lady involved in technology in Texas, doing some really neat things. And today we're just going to hit on the topic of building relationships in remote learning. So before we dive into it, I just want to say, first off, thanks so much for taking the time to do this topic session and share your knowledge and your experience with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this. Number one, I know that we kind of couched it in the remote learning situation, and some of us, well, right now we're in summertime, pretty much across the country. But with what this looks like in the fall, whether or not we're going to be in that remote learning situation, I think that's neither here nor there. I think that what we're going to be able to talk about today is just in this digital situation that we have, whether it's remote learning, whether it's quarantine, whether it's just everyday life, how do we build and forge those relationships utilizing technology and what's important in that. And I'm excited to jump in and talk about that. One of the things that I love being able to do in my world is get to work with educators and districts all across the country. And so much of it is just like this, where we're having those conversations online and building them. And so let's jump in and do this and see where it takes us.
Well, let's go. So what are some key components that you're seeing that works well with building relationships in remote learning?
So I think number one, it is, just like whenever you are building a face-to-face relationship, it is having that connection. And so we've got to be able to remember that online doesn't mean that it has to be text. It doesn't mean that it has to be, that one-dimensional where we're just, sending an email or posting something on a learning management system or whatever the case is. It truly means having that visual opportunity to acknowledge somebody, to look them in the eye and to have a conversation with them. And I think that is so important. We saw that a lot in these remote situations where whether it was through Zoom or through Google Meets or any of those things, of how much video became, a part of our systems, and even personally, right? Like we saw FaceTimes and, those video chats with our families and people that we couldn't see every day. But how important it was to be able to have that conversation and connect with them. So that is number one in the playbook is getting in front of that video, having that opportunity to still see that visual connection is really there. And I again, like you and I mean, we this could be a podcast. That's it could be an audio thing, but seeing and connecting on video, just it brings something to the table.
Just hearing you talk about that too, and the creative ways that people have done those things, like I knew the norm with the meetings and all that stuff, but it really blew me away when I saw people like doing songs, like singing. I think the editors are the real MVPs, right? Like, I don't know who's doing all of that editing, but man, for them to put all that stuff together like that, I think it's been awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that you say that, because it has, it's using this, it's the opportunity to transport us into that situation, right? Yeah. So whether it's a, something like a silly skit, I mean, my kids were doing dance parties with each other, and, they were just something to connect to that everyday life, or, and I know I don't really understand it, but my kids that like to watch videos of each other playing video games or to play each other, online, that starts to make a lot more sense when we're in this situation, right? Because it is that common experience that's created in there. And I love that you said that about that creative element, because we are seeing so many people, whether it's like Food Network stars that are videoing themselves and making their own shows, or our own children who are just grabbing devices. And I mean, my daughter set up a little station over there and was videoing herself make slime, and share it with people. So it's been really fun to watch on that.
And it's
for
cool,
sure.
like you said, like with the start, like it could be to the extreme of like Jimmy Fallon all the way down to my daughter. And it's the same technology, and he has, he may have a little bit more money to, have product, but really it's the same.
And that's what it's been so fun to watch,
Yeah.
right? We talk about that in the classroom, about how that's one of the things that I get so excited about it whenever we talk about digital learning tools. And people always ask me why I believe in demonstration for assessment and why I believe for like video and all these tools. And I talk about how it is that exactly what you hit on, where it doesn't matter if you are Jimmy Fallon or if you're your daughter, like the same tools are there because this technology has created it, right? Like we can use this. You can use iMovie and suddenly you look like Steven Spielberg, and it creates this desire to make sure that the genius that you have inside your head actually gets to come out, because it's so easy to do it. I usually ask people whenever I'm talking about this, if I were to ask you to draw a self-portrait, there's only so many people that would be really excited about it. There'd be a couple people that are in the room that are like, all right, watch me work. This is going to be amazing. And then everybody else is going to, feel like my stick figure is going to look the same no matter if I spend 5 seconds on it or 45 minutes on it or 45 days on it. And the same thing is for our kids. Like if they feel like they can use something like a technology tool that will help them share that, then they're going to be so much more engaged in it. And it's exciting to watch for sure.
Love it. Any other points you have as far as the building relationships that you want to hit on?
The big piece of it is just, it's truly that engagement of invitation into your experience. And I think that is so important. We talked about like the video connection. Yes, it's seeing the other person, but truly it's really inviting that experience into of your own for other people to connect with as well. And we do that in the classroom. We do that face to face with kids all the time, where we tell stories about ourselves or we ask them to tell stories. We want to set up that same thing when we're in a remote situation. And so, give them the opportunity to share their experience and then connect with it. And I think that is truly, it sounds so simple, and guys, it really is simple. It's truly just having that relationship, having that opportunity to talk with them. But hands down, I cannot emphasize enough how much showing your face and having that conversation is really critical. I'll close it with this. And here's the thing that I like to say with people is, if you were in the classroom, you would not go into your room, write an assignment on the board, and then walk out and never come back in for the rest of the week, right? Like you would not do that. You're there, you're shaking hands at the door, you're high-fiving them, you're dancing, you're doing silly songs, you meet all of your kids, whatever the case may be. And just because we're in a situation where we're not able to physically be in the same room right now, that doesn't change. In fact, it's even more important because it gives that uncertainty a little bit more certainty, because they know that this is who it's going to be. And, moving into the fall, we're going to be in a little bit different situation, because some of us may not even get to know our kids before we go into a virtual situation. And so I would encourage you to think about those things that you do at the beginning of the year to get to know your kids, and how can you translate that into a virtual setting. So, using those video tools, asking them those questions, creating some of those fun little icebreakers, whether it's asking, somebody to, use some filters to put on your favorite hats or whatever the case is to represent them, just to give people a little bit of that opportunity to connect. And you'll be amazed at how much that relationship really bonds and creates that environment for you.
No doubt. And I think, there's 3 quick things I wanted to hit on too. I think when you're looking at building relationships in remote learning and the technology aspect, I think one, what it does, it builds trust. I think, I don't know, the students now are technology natives, where, we weren't, and so we had to go into easing it, and they know that. So I think the fact that they see us stepping outside of our box and, trying new things to make sure we reach them, I think it allows us to come together, and it builds trust on both ends, and the more you do it, just like anything, reps make you better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I think, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I love that. I mean, because it is important. And I think even with our kids who are technology natives, that doesn't mean that, it actually means that they have a higher litmus for needing you to
do it
as that tool, because otherwise they're like, you can't connect with me. You don't, that trust has to be there, and utilizing those platforms that they're comfortable with is super important. I love that you shared that.
Yeah. And then from there, it adds to the communication, just like you said, it's there. Why not use it? It aids, it can only help it get better.
Absolutely. And I think, and that's one of the things, we talked a little bit about it earlier too, of being in this situation, the one that we never really all thought that we would be there before, has been powerful because we were all there. I was talking about this earlier, and we were saying that, we were all in a boat. Our boats didn't look the same, right? Some people had a raft, some people had, a yacht, some people had little power boat or a paddle boat, some people had a cardboard box that they were barely, clinging to, but everybody had a boat that they were trying to navigate and get through. And this experience has pushed us all to use those tools that weren't there, that our comfort wasn't there before. Right. And so, I've enjoyed watching even my mom learn different things that she didn't know existed on her phone before, that now all of a sudden she's like, oh, did you know you could do this? And you're like, yeah, I did. But it's so fun to see them, because the need wasn't there, like it didn't necessitate, because she felt like she could get the connection in a different way. But then all of a sudden, now that we were put in a situation where that face-to-face wasn't there, she found the tools, it was there when she needed it. So it's been fun to see that.
No doubt. And the beauty of it, the last thing I had was that, the beauty of it is that it benefits us all. Just in our discussing in this topic session, we've talked about, kid, we've talked about superstar, we've talked about mom, grandma, we talked about students, we've talked about teachers, educators. We've hit a wide range, a wide array of people. But even within all of that, mixing it all together, it benefits every one of those people.
Yes, I love that. And it's something that's like almost every person has access to some form of this, right? Like, I think it's one of those things where, in today's day and age, we all have, in some capacity, some form of a video that we can share somehow, whether it's from our phones or from a device, or, whatever the case is. And I think that because we have that opportunity to communicate in some form or fashion. And I know that is really important for us to be able to share those experiences and connect on that level. So I love that. I love that it does truly touch every single person and brings it even more. We've seen it for a while with military families, right, that have been able to utilize video to have those conversations, and that was something that was reserved kind of over there for that type of family situation. And now it's
everybody
everywhere, right? And I just think, like I said, it's a tool that we need to truly use for good, which is to connect us. And that's what these things are supposed to do, is to connect us in order to create that relationship.
Awesome. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go, check you out and show you some love with the great things that you have going on.
Well, I would love to connect with you all on social media. You can find me pretty much on every single platform. It is, my handle is at bhodgesedu. My website is briannahodges.com, and I would just love to reach out. You can shoot me a video and we can chat, or you can just give me a little shout and let me know what it is that you're working on, and how we can together and tell our stories and learn about what everybody's got to offer.
Again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview, do the topic session with the Success Chronicles. And I wish you continued success with all of the amazing things you have going on.
Thank you. You too. It's been great.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
See y'all.
Go get it.